My ex-best friend betrayed me by secretly dating my crush right after pretending she was helping me get closer to him, acting like she cared while plotting to take him for herself. Can you imagine having your entire life flipped upside down, your reputation shredded, all because of one person's obsessive lies? What if that person wasn't just talking trash, but was willing to fake a pregnancy just to keep a guy, while simultaneously trying to destroy your world? Because that's what happened to me, and trust me, you won't believe how twisted it got. So, this guy Hunter, he transferred to our school last August. And honest to God, he was the whole package, cute, smart, genuinely nice. I had this massive, instant crush on him, the kind that makes your stomach flip. Of course, I spilled everything to my friend, Valeria. We'd known each other since freshman year, bonded over a biology project. We weren't exactly best friends, but we hung out, shared classes, and she always seemed supportive, helping me with homework, inviting me to parties. I totally trusted her. That's why what happened next still makes me sick to my stomach. When I told Valeria about Hunter, she was all, OMG, you guys would be perfect together. She helped me craft texts to him, we'd dissect his replies together, and she constantly pushed me to go for it. By October, Hunter and I were actually talking more. He'd wait for me after chemistry, we'd walk to lunch. Nothing official, but I was absolutely falling for him. Valeria, my supportive friend, kept asking for every single detail, which I thought was just her being, a good friend. One time, he complimented my history presentation, and I literally ran to the bathroom to text her. She replied with a string of heart emojis, he's definitely into you. She even spent 2 hours on FaceTime helping me pick out an outfit for the next day. My mom totally noticed how much time I was spending getting ready, teasing me about a crush. I couldn't tell her about Hunter, though my parents would have wanted to meet him immediately, which would have been mortifying. Then came November. I finally gathered enough courage to ask him to a movie. Valeria helped me draft the text, giving me the exact words to say. My heart was pounding so hard, I closed my eyes when I hit send. He took forever to reply. And when he did, just sorry, was busy on Sunday night. That was it. No rain check, no explanation. Then, on Monday, he basically ignored me at school. I was so confused, so hurt. But that confusion turned into pure, stomach-dropping disbelief on Wednesday. Tiffany, a girl from my history class, walked up to my locker and asked if I was stalking Hunter. I laughed it off, thinking she was joking, until she said, Valeria's been telling everyone you're obsessed with her boyfriend. Her boyfriend? My world stopped. I had no idea they were even talking. Later that afternoon, I saw them in the parking lot. His arm was around her waist. When she saw me looking, she whispered something to him, and they both laughed. I felt like such an absolute idiot. The rest of the day was a blur. My English teacher, Mr. Benson, even asked if I was okay because I kept staring out the window, completely zoned out. That night, I couldn't stop crying. My brother, Rodney, heard me through the wall, but I just mumbled something about period cramps to make him go away. I didn't want anyone to know how stupid, how utterly humiliated I felt. The next day at lunch, I finally confronted Valeria. My hands were shaking so bad, I could barely hold my tray. How long have you been dating Hunter? I asked, my voice barely a whisper. She just shrugged, completely casually, and said, since September. September. The entire time she was helping me, they were already together. When I asked why she pretended to help me if she knew I had no chance, she just said, I thought it was better than telling you to back off. She didn't even seem to think she'd done anything wrong. I just stood there, lunch tray in hand, feeling like everyone was watching. By Friday, the rumors were everywhere. According to Valeria, I was a desperate psycho, chasing Hunter even though I knew he was taken. She showed people our text conversations, twisting everything to make me look completely unhinged. I started skipping lunch, hiding in the library, anything to avoid the stares. My parents noticed I wasn't eating. I lied, blaming stress from tests. My dad even made my favorite pasta to cheer me up, which just made me feel even guiltier. Then my friend Ruby sent me screenshots of a group chat. Valeria and her friends were talking about my obsession, and Hunter was in it, calling me that weird girl who wouldn't leave him alone. I wanted to disappear. I deleted all my social media. Mom kept asking why I was so quiet, and again, I blamed cramps. I spent that entire weekend in bed, watching TikToks, ignoring texts. I made up excuses to avoid going out, terrified of running into them. December sucked. Someone wrote stalker on my locker. My lab partner asked to switch. When I tried to tell Tiffany my side, she cut me off, saying Valeria had warned her I'd make stuff up. In chemistry, no one wanted me in their group. The teacher had to assign me, and the other kids barely spoke to me. One girl literally moved her chair away like I had a contagious disease. I gave away my holiday dance ticket, telling my parents I had too much homework. They worried I was becoming antisocial, but didn't push it. Winter break was spent hiding. My cousin visited, and I barely spoke to her. I overheard my aunt asking my mom about teenage depression. When school started again in January, I tried to keep my head down, but Valeria just kept making it worse. She and Hunter would make out right in front of me. She'd text me things like, "Hunter thought your outfit was funny today," then deny sending anything. My dad sat me down one weekend, asking if I was using drugs. Drugs. I almost laughed at how wrong he was. I ended up lying again, blaming college applications. He seemed so relieved it wasn't drugs, offering to help me research schools. More guilt. Then came February and a whole new level of hell. Someone made a fake Instagram with my photo, sending creepy messages to Hunter. Everyone assumed it was me. I got called to the counselor's office. My parents were called. I kept saying it wasn't me, but no one believed me. My mom had to leave work early, looking so confused and embarrassed as the counselor showed us the cringeworthy messages. "I dream about you every night and we're meant to be together." My mom kept insisting, "This doesn't sound like my daughter," but the counselor just gave her a pitying look. At home, Mom tried to have a heart-to-heart about healthy relationships and obsession. I screamed that I didn't do it and slammed my door. We barely spoke for days. The only person who still talked to me was Ruby's freshman sister, Yael. She believed me because Valeria had been mean to her before too. One day in March, I was at Yael's house studying. She went to get snacks and her Facebook was open on her laptop. I know I shouldn't have looked, but I saw Valeria's name in a conversation with Ruby, and my curiosity just took over. What I found made me absolutely sick. Valeria had told Hunter she was pregnant to keep him from breaking up with her. She wasn't pregnant. She was faking morning sickness, making up doctor's appointments, and had sworn Ruby to secrecy. There were messages where Ruby asked about ultrasound pictures Valeria had shown Hunter, and Valeria admitted she got them from Google. She explicitly told Ruby she wasn't pregnant but needed Hunter to stay with her. My hands shook as I took pictures of the conversation with my phone. I felt guilty for snooping, but also like I'd finally found proof that Valeria was a monster. When Yael came back, I told her what I saw. She wasn't even surprised. She said lots of people knew, except Hunter, and Valeria had threatened anyone who might tell him. I went home feeling like I was carrying this huge, dangerous secret. I couldn't focus on anything. My mom asked if I was okay. I barely touched dinner. I said I had a headache, which wasn't exactly a lie. My head was pounding. What was I supposed to do with this? Meanwhile, Valeria just kept ruining my life. In April, she convinced our English teacher to move my seat because I was making her uncomfortable by looking at Hunter. My parents argued about it one night. Mom wanted me to switch schools. Dad said running away wouldn't solve anything. I sat on the stairs, listening to them fight about my future. Rodney found me there. He's only 14, but sometimes he seems smarter than me. He asked if I was okay, and for some reason, I just told him everything. The crush, Valeria's lies, the fake pregnancy. He just listened. When I finished, he said Valeria sounded like a psycho and I should tell Hunter. I explained no one would believe me, it would just make it worse. He couldn't understand why I wouldn't fight back. Then Hunter posted this huge prom proposal for Valeria on Instagram. The caption? "Can't wait to start our future with the mother of my child." Everyone was commenting, "Congrats about the baby." I snapped. It was like a switch flipped. I made an anonymous email and sent Hunter all the screenshots from Ruby and Yael's conversation. I showed him the fake ultrasound matched with the Google image. I included details only Valeria would know. I felt sick after I sent it, staring at my ceiling all night, wondering if I just made everything 1,000 times worse. My mom came in to check on me. I pretended to be asleep. 3 days later, everything exploded. Hunter confronted Valeria, and she admitted the pregnancy was fake. But, of course, she twisted it, claiming I'd been plotting revenge because I was jealous. She said I catfished her to get her secrets. Hunter broke up with her, but that somehow made things worse for me. People were grossed out by her lie, but even more disgusted by my obsessive investigation and cruel exposure. Sam, my chem classmate, said only a psycho would collect evidence for months just to destroy someone. Ruby confronted me, furious, about stealing conversations from her sister's computer, even though Yael had told her she showed me willingly. My phone blew up with texts from numbers I didn't even recognize, calling me a psycho stalker and worse. Someone made a fake Twitter with my name, posting creepy, obsessive stuff. My parents were horrified. Dad wanted to go to the police, but Mom said there was no way to prove who was behind it. Last week, Valeria's parents complained to the school. I got suspended for cyberbullying and creating a hostile environment. Hunter texted to thank me for telling him the truth, then blocked me on everything. My mom cried when the principal called. Dad was so angry he had to leave the room. When we got home, they argued again. Mom saying we should have switched schools, Dad saying the school was out of line. I locked myself in my room, headphones on. Rodney slipped a chocolate bar under my door with a note. This sucks. Not your fault. It made me cry even harder. So, I exposed someone who humiliated me, spread lies, and manipulated a guy with a huge, disgusting lie. But now, I'm the toxic one. I'm the villain. Is it ever okay to expose someone's secrets if they hurt you first? Because from where I'm standing, the answer seems to be no, no matter how justified you might be. My parents are still reeling. Mom keeps scheduling meetings with the principal, threatening lawyers if they don't fix my suspension. Dad's more quietly furious, saying the school's teaching me that standing up to liars gets punished. They're arguing constantly. Mom thinks I should have come to her before sending those screenshots. Dad says I did the right thing, but worries about college applications. They got my suspension reduced to a week, but going back to school was awful. People weren't just whispering, they actively walked away. My usual lunch table was suddenly full. I ended up eating in a bathroom stall. I know it's pathetic, but I couldn't face the cafeteria. When I got home, I lied and said it was fine, then threw up from the stress. Rodney heard me, offered to make me toast. He's the sweetest kid. The school counselor had the nerve to suggest I write Valeria an apology letter. An apology. When I said no way, she gave me this look, like I was being difficult, and talked about taking responsibility regardless of provocation. For what? Telling the truth? She gave me a worksheet about conflict resolution and empathy building. Questions like, how might the other person feel? I wanted to scream that Valeria was the one who needed it. I stuffed it in my backpack and never looked at it again. Meanwhile, Valeria was playing the victim perfectly. Sad captions on Instagram about healing from betrayal and learning who your real friends are. Her follower count actually went up. She deleted Hunter's pics, replaced them with group shots of her surrounded by friends. Comments were full of hearts and "we love you" messages. She even posted a long paragraph about forgiveness and rising above negativity, never naming me, but everyone knew. Mom caught me crying while looking at it and took my phone away. She's probably right, but being disconnected just made me feel even more isolated. When I got back to school, Ruby was telling everyone I manipulated Yael into showing me private conversations. Yael tried to defend me at first, but Ruby threatened to tell their parents about Yael's vaping if she didn't back up the story. Now Yael won't even look at me. I tried talking to her, but she literally walked the other way. Later, she texted me, apologizing, saying Ruby would make her life hell. I told her I understood, but it still stung. My parents were still fighting about what to do. Mom thought I should switch schools. Dad said that's letting the bullies win. I heard Mom crying in their room after a bad argument. I almost went in, but knew it would make her feel worse. Instead, I texted her a heart emoji. A few minutes later, she came to my room and just hugged me. We both pretended not to notice we'd been crying. I feel so guilty for causing problems at home. Rodney's stuck in the middle, trying to make dumb jokes at dinner while Mom and Dad glare at each other. He's only 14. He tried to cheer me up by showing me funny TikToks he made. For a few minutes, I forgot everything. Then he asked if I wanted to be in one, and I realized I couldn't risk being on social media at all. The disappointment on his face made me feel awful. 3 days after I went back, Hunter came up to my locker. He asked if we could talk somewhere private, so we went to the empty band room during lunch. I was scared someone would see us, but also weirdly happy. He said he wanted to thank me. He told me Valeria had him completely convinced. She'd even fake thrown up in front of him, disappeared into bathrooms to vomit. She showed him ultrasound photos with his last name edited onto them. He looked so embarrassed, admitting how completely she'd fooled him. When I asked why he blocked me, he said Valeria still had access to his phone and blocked me herself before he changed his passwords. He seemed genuinely sorry, which helped a little. He told me Valeria was telling people I photoshopped everything, but he didn't believe it because the conversations had details from months ago that I couldn't have known. He was still processing everything, felt like an idiot. Then it got awkward. He asked if I'd really been obsessed with him. I told him the truth. I did have a crush on him, and Valeria knew because I told her. That's what made it hurt so much. He looked shocked when I explained how Valeria had been helping me draft texts to him while they were secretly dating. I could see him putting the pieces together, realizing how manipulative she'd been to both of us. After our talk, Hunter said he believed me, but we probably shouldn't be seen talking at school. He didn't want more drama. I understood, but it still hurt. He checked the hallway before leaving to make sure no one saw us. That night, I completely broke down. Mom found me crying and sat with me for hours. I told her everything, not just Hunter and Valeria, but how lonely I've been, how I couldn't take the isolation anymore. She just stroked my hair, like when I was little. And for once, she didn't try to offer solutions or tell me everything would be okay. She just listened. She suggested I talk to her sister, my Aunt Kelly, who went through something similar in high school. I was skeptical. Adults always think their high school experiences relate. But I was desperate enough to try anything. I called Aunt Kelly the next day. I was nervous, but she was surprisingly cool. No cheesy, it gets better speeches. She told me how her best friend turned everyone against her over a guy in senior year, and how she felt like her life was over. She said high school feels like the whole world when you're in it, but in a few years, none of this will matter. Easy for her to say, she's 38 with a job and family, but it helped a little to know she'd survived something similar. She suggested I focus on the people still in my corner and ignore everyone else as much as possible. My grades were tanking. It was impossible to focus. Every whisper, I was convinced they were talking about me. I started sitting in the back row. On Wednesday, I overheard Tiffany saying Valeria might transfer because of the hostile environment I'd created. The irony was unreal. I wanted to scream that she was the one who created a hostile environment for me. That afternoon in gym, someone hit me in the back with a volleyball. I'm pretty sure it was one of Valeria's friends, but couldn't prove it. My back had a red mark for hours. When I got home, Rodney was waiting, looking weirdly excited. He had a plan to clear my name, involving creating a fake social media account to trick Valeria into admitting she lied. I shut that down immediately. The last thing I needed was to get caught creating fake accounts when that's what people were already accusing me of. He looked disappointed, but I explained that fighting fire with fire would just make everything worse. He grudgingly agreed, but still thought Valeria deserved karma. I told him karma apparently takes vacations when it comes to popular girls. Things got weird on Thursday when Hunter texted, asking if we could meet. I was nervous, but agreed. Rodney insisted on coming with me, sitting nearby, just in case. It was kind of sweet, even if his protective act was ridiculous. He wore a baseball cap pulled low like he was an undercover agent, scanning the room dramatically. I had to tell him multiple times to stop staring at Hunter and act normal. He ordered a complicated frappuccino and then complained it was too sweet. The whole thing would have been funny if I wasn't so stressed. Hunter looked better than at school. He apologized again for not standing up for me sooner. He'd been confused, embarrassed. He fidgeted with his coffee cup. He felt stupid for falling for Valeria's lies. The more he thought about it, the more red flags he could see. She was always checking his phone, getting upset if he didn't respond right away. We were actually having a good conversation until Valeria walked in with two friends. Not a coincidence. Hunter later admitted she followed his location, and he'd forgotten to turn it off. She made this big show of being shocked to see us, then loudly told her friends that I just couldn't leave them alone, even after everything. Rodney was halfway out of his seat, ready to confront her, but I gave him a look that said, "Don't you dare." Valeria's friends were taking pictures. I knew this would be all over social media. But then Hunter surprised me. He actually stood up to her. He told her to stop spreading lies. He said he knew the truth now, that I'd had a crush on him, that she knew about it and went after him anyway. He knew she was never pregnant and manipulated everyone. Valeria immediately started crying, saying she couldn't believe he was taking my side. Everyone in the coffee shop was staring. Her friends glared at me like I'd caused the scene. An older woman at the next table was openly watching like it was a TV drama. We left quickly. Hunter walked us to our car, thanking me again for telling him the truth, even though it cost you so much. He wasn't ready for a relationship right now, but hoped we could be friends. Rodney was buzzing with excitement, saying Hunter was cool and Valeria got what she deserved. I was just exhausted, dreading the inevitable fallout. When I got home, my parents were sitting at the kitchen table, looking serious. The school had called them. Valeria's parents were threatening to file a restraining order, claiming I was harassing their daughter by meeting with Hunter. They'd found out about the coffee shop within hours. I explained everything. Dad was taking notes, his handwriting getting messier as he got more upset. My parents had another argument that night, Mom wanting to talk to Valeria's parents, Dad wanting to wait. I heard them from my room, their voices rising and falling. At one point, Mom started crying, saying she just wanted her happy daughter back. That made me feel horrible. The next morning, someone had taped a negative pregnancy test to my locker, with a note that said, "Unlike some people, I'm not a liar." A teacher took it down, but a few early students definitely saw it. At lunch, I tried sitting with a group of girls I'm friendly with. They didn't tell me to leave, but suddenly became very interested in their phones and stopped talking. After 5 minutes of excruciating silence, I made an excuse and left. The worst part is I'm starting to question myself. Was sending those screenshots the right thing to do? Should I have found another way to tell Hunter? Should I have just minded my own business and let him figure it out eventually? Dad says I did what anyone would do. Mom says she understands, but wishes I'd handled it differently. I still don't know if I did the right thing. Was it worth it? Hunter knows the truth now, but my life is a complete disaster. My family is stressed, and my last year of high school is ruined. If I could go back, would I still send those screenshots? I honestly don't know. I'm just so tired of being the villain in someone else's story. For those who asked, no, I haven't tried talking to Valeria directly. With legal threats, I don't think that would help. Part of me wants to ask her why, but another part knows there's no answer that would satisfy me or make any of this make sense. I just want to go somewhere no one knows the story, where I can start fresh without being that crazy stalker girl. It's been a month since my last update. The Monday after my last post was one of the worst days yet. I walked into school to find people staring at their phones, then looking up at me. Valeria's friends had posted photos from the coffee shop confrontation with a completely twisted version of what happened. According to them, I had ambushed Valeria, and Hunter had defended me out of pity. The comments called me pathetic, psycho, stalker. I almost went home, but I knew that would make things worse. I put my headphones on, blasted music, and pretended I couldn't hear the whispers. That's when I found the note, "Liar," in big letters taped to my locker. The counselor basically shrugged. In history, Miss Parker assigned group projects. No one would make eye contact. She had to assign me to a group, and they looked like they'd been sentenced to community service. At lunch, I hid in the library. The librarian, Mrs. Gonzalez, always nice, pretended not to notice I was eating a sandwich behind a book. A small kindness that meant more than she probably realized. That same day, I got called to the principal's office. Valeria's parents filed an official complaint for harassment and bullying. They wanted more punishment. Principal Matthew seemed so done with the whole situation. He barely looked at me, said without proof of who left the note, he couldn't do anything, but any more incidents with Valeria would have serious consequences. When I tried explaining, he cut me off. I left his office feeling like I might throw up. I went straight to the bathroom and called Mom crying. She came right away, demanded to see the principal, and I could hear her yelling through the door. In the car, she told me she'd made it clear if the school punished me again without doing anything about the harassment I was getting, we'd be looking at legal options. That just made me more nervous. The last thing I wanted was to become the girl whose mom sued the school. That night, we had a family meeting. My parents were worried about all of us. Mom admitted she wasn't sleeping. Dad was distracted at work. Mom asked what I wanted to do, keep fighting, switch schools, or something else. I honestly didn't know. They agreed to give me time. The next day, I kept my head down, trying to be invisible. It mostly worked until gym class. I was the last person picked for volleyball. No one would pass to me. It was humiliating. After school, I had therapy with Dr. Landry. I finally told her the whole truth, including finding the pregnancy info on Yael's computer. I was afraid she'd judge me, but she just listened. When I finished, she said something that actually helped. You're not responsible for other people's lies, only for how you respond to them. That weekend, we visited my grandparents. It was a relief to be somewhere different, with people who didn't know any of the drama. For a few hours, things felt almost normal. Sunday night, Hunter texted me. We ended up texting for hours. He told me more about his relationship with Valeria, how controlling she'd been. He apologized again for believing her lies about me. He seemed genuinely remorseful, which helped heal some of the hurt. We agreed to be cautious, but maybe try being friends. He suggested we could study together sometime, somewhere off campus. Monday morning, I felt slightly better. Having Hunter believe me made a difference. But in first period, I noticed people looking at their phones, then at me again. My stomach dropped. Someone had created a fake profile using my name and picture on a dating app. The profile said I was looking for pregnancy roleplay and other disgusting stuff. Screenshots were circulating all over school. I wanted to die of embarrassment. I went straight to the counselor's office. She looked uncomfortable, but said since it was created outside of school, there wasn't much they could do. I asked if they could at least make an announcement that it wasn't me, but she said that would just draw more attention to it. Mom picked me up. She was furious. We reported the fake profile. Dad came home early, and they spent the evening calling a lawyer friend, the school board, even the local police. The police weren't helpful. Dad was frustrated, but Mom pointed out involving police would just escalate everything. That night, I couldn't sleep, imagining everyone looking at those screenshots. Around 2 a.m., I found Dad still up, researching cyber harassment laws. He looked so tired but determined. It made me feel both loved and guilty. The next morning, I forced myself to go back. Mom offered to let me stay home, but I knew hiding would just make the rumors worse. I put on my most confident outfit, like armor. In English, Mr. Benson paired us for peer editing, and everyone shifted anxiously when he called my name. He partnered me with Jane, a quiet girl. To my surprise, Jane was normal. She didn't act weird. She mentioned she'd seen the fake profile and knew it wasn't really me because the writing style was completely different. It was a small thing, but knowing even one person didn't believe the worst about me felt huge. At lunch, Hunter texted, asking if I wanted to meet in the music practice rooms. I agreed. We sat on the floor, sharing his earbuds, listening to a new album. We didn't talk much about the drama, which was a relief. It was just 30 minutes of normal teenage stuff. When the bell rang, he checked the hallway before we left, and we went in opposite directions. That weekend, Hunter asked if I wanted to go hiking with him and his cousin. It wasn't exactly a date, but it was a chance to hang out away from school drama. The hike was exactly what I needed. For a few hours, I remembered what it felt like to just be a regular teenager. When Hunter dropped me off, he awkwardly asked if I might want to go to a movie sometime, just the two of us. I said yes before I could overthink it. He looked relieved, a genuine smile I hadn't seen in weeks. Monday at school, things took another turn. The fake dating profile had been taken down. But now there were rumors that I was secretly dating Hunter. Someone had seen us at the state park. By third period, Valeria had heard about it. She cornered me in the bathroom. For a minute, I thought she might hit me. She looked so angry. Instead, she just stared at me and said I would regret trying to steal her boyfriend. I pointed out that he wasn't her boyfriend anymore, and she wasn't pregnant either. Her face got all blotchy. And she stormed out. At lunch, I told Hunter. He looked worried, suggested maybe we should cool things off. I was disappointed, but understood. When I got home, Valeria had posted another vague Instagram about girls who don't respect relationships and karma coming for liars. I deleted Instagram again. The next morning, boyfriend stealer was written on my locker in Sharpie. The janitor tried to clean it, but you could still see the ghost of the words. Principal Matthews finally seemed to take things more seriously. He called me to his office and asked if I knew who did it. I said I had my suspicions, but no proof. He surprised me by saying they would review the hallway security footage. After school, Hunter texted to check in. Despite his suggestion to cool things off, he still wanted to make sure I was okay. We talked on the phone for an hour. He told me Valeria had been texting him constantly, sometimes angry, sometimes apologizing, sometimes threatening to tell everyone he pressured her into faking the pregnancy. He finally blocked her. The next day, I was called back to Principal Matthews' office. To my shock, Valeria was there, looking sullen. The principal informed us the security footage showed Valeria writing on my locker. She was being given in-school suspension for vandalism and harassment. Valeria didn't even try to deny it. She just glared at me. Principal Matthews warned us both that any further incidents would result in more serious consequences. He also mentioned that my previous suspension was being reviewed. I left his office feeling vindicated, but also nervous about potential backlash. If Valeria was angry before, she would be furious now. But at least the school was finally taking action. My parents were cautiously optimistic. Dad said it was about time. Mom worried it would just make Valeria more determined. The next few days were strangely quiet. Valeria was in in-school suspension, and without her actively stirring things up, the drama seemed to die down a bit. People still whispered, but it felt less intense. Jane and I worked on our English project, and Hunter and I continued our secret lunch meetings in the practice rooms. On Friday, Hunter officially asked me to go to a movie with him on Saturday, not as friends, but as a date. I said yes. We went to a theater in the next town over. The date was both wonderful and awkward. We were so nervous at first, but afterward, over pizza, the conversation finally flowed. He held my hand as we walked back to his car, and I didn't even worry about who might see us. When he dropped me off, we sat in his car talking for another hour. He apologized again, explained how manipulative Valeria had been. When he finally kissed me goodnight, it felt like the first good thing to happen in months. Of course, by Monday morning, someone had spotted us at the pizza place and word had spread. The whispers started again. In the bathroom, I overheard two girls discussing whether I had stolen Hunter from Valeria or if he was just using me. Neither considered that maybe we actually liked each other. Valeria was back from suspension and clearly knew about the date. She walked past me in the hallway and deliberately bumped my shoulder hard enough to make me drop my books. She didn't say anything, just gave me a cold look. At lunch, Jane waved me over. As I sat down, she quietly warned me that Valeria and her friends were planning something. I thanked her, trying to act normal, but inside I was panicking. After school, I told Hunter about Jane's warning. He looked worried and offered to drive me home. As we walked to the parking lot, we saw Valeria and 3 of her friends waiting. Hunter put his arm around my shoulders and walked confidently past them. They didn't do anything except glare. In the car, Hunter suggested we should just go public with our relationship. He argued that sneaking around made it seem like we had something to hide, which just fed into Valeria's narrative. I was scared of the backlash, but agreed it might be better than constantly looking over our shoulders. The next day, we walked into school together, not hiding the fact that we were now a couple. Valeria's reaction was exactly what I expected. By lunch, she had posted a long, dramatic Instagram story. Her friends were shooting daggers at us. That weekend, Hunter and I went to the mall together, openly as a couple. We ran into a few people from school, but most just nodded. Someone took a picture, probably to send to Valeria, but we decided not to care. My parents have relaxed a little. Mom still checks in more, but she's not hovering constantly. Dad has been teaching me to drive, which gives us time to talk without directly discussing all the drama. Yesterday was the last day of school before break. As I was cleaning out my locker, Tiffany walked by. Instead of the usual dirty looks, she just nodded. Summer starts tomorrow. I'm focusing on my driving test, college applications, and trying to rebuild my life. My family is closer now. I know who my real friends are, not many, but that's okay. And I've learned more about myself than I ever wanted to. If anyone's in a similar situation, my only advice is to find at least one person who believes you and remember that high school, even though it feels like your whole world right now, is temporary. The people who truly matter will eventually see the truth. Thanks for sticking with my messy story. It helped more than you know just to tell it all. Now I have to ask, if you were in my shoes, faced with that kind of betrayal and gaslighting, what would you have done? Did I go too far, or was it the only way to expose the truth? I really want to hear what you think.